All right, let's get to the new guy, Jakob Chychrun, a man I want to see play with Thomas Chabot next season. Small sample size, yes, but give me your overall impression on Jakob Chychrun's first dozen games with the Ottawa Senators.
So I gave him a B rating, mostly because, unfortunately, one of the big things we were concerned about with Jakob Chychrun was his health issues, and wouldn't you know it, he had an injury that happened within 12 games. And I'm not trying to put him down for that, but it is a big part of why a lot of teams didn't want to pay that high price tag for Jakob Chychrun. And the Ottawa Senators, end up getting kind of a lower price. And unfortunately, the injury concern was still in effect, even though it was just after trade deadline, not much of the season left.
Well, at least it wasn't game one. Remember, he went into the board so hard in New York?
Ross, you and I were about to have bad vibes in Mexico for the first time of that trip. It was all good vibes, and then he went down, and I think if people in rooms anywhere near us thought there was a major disaster happening as we were just dropping F-bombs and saying, no, 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 the verbal meme, The Office, when Michael's just saying, no, no, no. But luckily, he was okay there. But apart from the injury, I thought everything was great. And another thing that kind of hindered his chance to succeed was being anchored with Nick Holden to start, and for
The receptionist.
the receptionist in Ottawa, much longer than he should have been. He should have played more than 35 minutes with Thomas Chabot. You go out and acquire a top four defenseman and you anchor him onto your third pair. I don't know what that's all about. I know he missed a month of time and DJ Smith wanted to ease him in. I get that, but the easing in was a little bit too long of a transition, in my opinion, and I think yours as well, Ross. But the thing about Jakob Chychrun is he's a great two-way defenseman. We saw the power of the wrist shot when he scored his first goal. I think his other goal was a great wrist shot as well. And he's able to defend very well. What we noticed and what is constant with Chychrun is his ability to have good gap control and use one stick to poke guys, to get in passing lanes, to cut off guys trying to go to the middle and force them wide. These may seem like minor things, but when you do it over and over and over, it doesn't allow teams to get in a position where you have to make a highlight reel defensive play. It just shuts that play down before it even turns into anything. So Jakob Chychrun's ability to score like he can and his ability to defend off the rush are two reasons why I think he's going to have a major impact on this team if he can stay healthy.
I know that's such a brutal caveat, and it's one it works for every single player. And you saw the Sens injury suite at the end of the year. It was a lot of guys, not just Jakob Chychrun, that was out with injury. And he said it himself, like he was almost ready to come back. Unfortunately, the season just wasn't long enough. Now, I think it would surprise people to learn that Jakob Chychrun's most common defensive partner at 5-on-5 this past year with Ottawa was Travis Hamonic. They played almost an hour of minutes together, and the results weren't that pretty. Whereas with Thomas Chabot, they were a lot better. The best partner for Jakob Chychrun last year was Eric Brandstrom.
Yeah,
like they only played like 25 minutes, but they were so good together because I think there's almost a misconception with Chychrun because his shot is so powerful that he's able to kind of be labeled as an offensive defenseman. He's good in transition. I don't think he's Thomas Chabot, but he's good in transition. He is a defensive defenseman. Like this guy is a shutdown, as you said, defends so well with his stick, great gap control, probably a little less physical than you would expect for a guy who's as jacked as he is. And that's something that is a bit of a surprise, but even still, man, he came as advertised to me. I give him a B plus. Obviously wish he was healthy. I would almost just give him an A, like that home debut where he had a goal and an assist. They were humming. The vibes were absolutely immaculate. I want to say that was our most viewed postcast in the entire season. People absolutely adored what he brought on the ice. He almost had a tear off the ice. That great interview with Kyle Bukauskas, but unfortunately, only a 12-game sample size. Now, the good news is Jakob Chychrun is signed for the next 2 seasons at $4.6 million. Chychrun played 12 games, had 2 goals, 3 assists with Ottawa. The expected goals percentage, 47.3%. Now, keep in mind, it was 44% while playing with Travis Hamonic. Everyone else a little bit higher. Then Corsi 4, 51.9%. He played 21 minutes per game on the nose. The fans overwhelmingly say B grade on Twitter at Sens Central. 66.9% say B Great. Now, Pilsy, I got beef with DJ Smith on how he handled Jakob Chychrun. And you know what? The way that Pierre Dorion spoke about DJ Smith after the season, where he's like, do we agree on everything? No. I truly believe this is one of the things they were talking about. Pierre Dorion made it absolutely no secret. We need a top four defenseman. We need a top four defenseman. He comes in and doesn't play in the top four. Say what you want about special teams minutes. He ends up playing 21 minutes a game. Oh, sure. Anything over 20 minutes, that's top 4 minutes. He wasn't taking a regular 5-on-5 shift in the top four. To me, 1 game, maybe 2 games, whatever. 3, 4, 5, and beyond, absolutely unacceptable. If I'm the manager and I just gave up a first and 2 seconds to bring this guy in, and you're going to play him with Nick Holden, a guy who's like been a healthy scratch half the season, I don't know. I think that was overthinking it rather than just being like, he's a hockey player. He's played in the top four his entire life since he was 6 years old. Maybe I should just keep him in the top four and put him with my other best players.
Yep, I'm not going to argue much on that. I think I was more lenient to easing him in just because he hadn't played in over a month. He was held out for the term of the year, trade related reasons. So I was okay with being like, okay, get him on the third pair, get him used to playing again, get him acclimated to the team, all those kind of things. I would have been okay with 2 games also, and maybe 3, but anything past 3, in my mind, I'm with you. He should have been up in the top 4 playing big minutes with either Jake Sanderson or Thomas Chabot.
Something to keep in mind with Jakob Chychrun too, and because he made the NHL as an 18-year-old, it just feels like he's already such a household name. This was his 24-year-old season. Like, let me put it to you this way. He's 2 years older than Igor Sokolov.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about it like that, like, he seems like he is an NHL veteran, but at that age, it's unreal. Next season, 15 games in, he'll reach 400 NHL games before he turns 25.
And he's what, a year older than Branny? Like, how old's Branny?
He's 2017 draft, and Chychrun was 2016. So there you have it.
Yeah, that's wild.
So he is 25 right now. He turned 25 at the end of the year. So when I say he'll reach that before, that was wrong. But last year was his 24-year-old season. And when you look at it, he only played 48 games, and that was the second most points he's ever had in a season. I really think the best is yet to come for him as well. And this is going to be a theme today, and I don't want it to be me gaslighting everyone. Oh, everyone's going to be better. But we're talking about the top 4 defensemen on the team right now, and all of them are under the age of 26. So, like, Chabot's 26, 25, Sanderson's 20. Like, you're looking at those 3 as the future of the blue line, and my goodness, we are going to have a treat to watch. And for all the brutal, and let me repeat, brutal defensive cores we've seen over the last 5 years, addition by subtraction helps. See a 22. But ultimately, this is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I want Jakob Chychrun to be right in the middle of it. What are you hoping to see from Jakob Chychrun next year to take a step forward, in your opinion, beyond staying healthy, because that's a given?
That was my big thing, staying healthy. Honestly, I want to see him just really help out this decor like that. Like, he's the ultimate guy. Like, even with Jake Sanderson, Artem Zub, and Tom Chabot, it wasn't complete, and that's no knock on them. They needed one more guy. It was obvious, like you mentioned, Dorion made it very clear, and then they got him. So I just need him to stay healthy. I know you didn't want me to say that, but that is the biggest thing. And this is a guy that can score goals. If you look at teams that are having success in the NHL playoffs, a lot of their offense comes from the blue line. And that's something I think the Ottawa Senators really struggled with, is getting offense from your blue line. I think he's going to be a big part of that. And I know you mentioned he's a defensive defenseman in certain aspects, but I really see, maybe transitionally, he's not that offensive guy you want, like you said, but when they're in the O-zone, especially on the power play, I want to see them utilize his shot, because we saw it firsthand. It's incredible. So I want to see Jakob Chychrun get some goals here, as that's not something he's not used to, Ross, as I'm just pulling up his stats here. He had 18 goals in 2020, 2021. So
that was the most of any defenseman in the league.
Yeah, he can do it. So I'm stoked for that.
Further to your point, I want to see him bring it to the second power play unit. You assume they're going to go 4 forwards and Jake Sanderson on the top unit. Then have Thomas Chabot up top on the second unit. I'm still against Giroux being on the second unit, but if you are going to keep the top unit there and DeBrincat's back, then your second power play unit is going to be any combination there of Pinto in the draw. Then you've got Giroux, Chabot, and then I want Chychrun in that shooting spot, one
Yep.
timer side. I mean, I didn't even mention Josh Norris. Like, geez, where are you going to fit
Did,
him in? So there's lots of options, but I want to see him in one of those one timer spots, right where he scored that goal in his home debut. Like, just
agreed.
he has an absolute cannon. Use it.
Agreed. Yep.
So lots of intrigue coming to the power play units next year. We'll have plenty of time to get into that. But Jakob Chychrun, the fans say B. I just think it was a good get your feet wet. Now come into training camp and show what kind of leader, what kind of player, and what kind of on ice. We know what he's going to bring off the ice, the work ethic, the community. He loves Ottawa as much as you and me, Pillsy. So I think he's going to be a perfect fit. And not for 1 minute are we going to discuss how the Sens losing 12th overall is a bad thing. Could not care less. Jakob Chychrun is here, and next year I'm expecting big things from number 6.